Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, so today we are literally heading deep into the heart of the Guyanese jungle. Locals actually call this place the Green Hell, and for good reason. We're going on a seriously high-tech expedition to uncover the biological realities behind one of the most legendary and honestly most feared predators on the planet, the giant green anaconda.
Okay, let's dive into this. Does a 9-meter monster snake actually exist? I want you to just imagine for a second the primal mystery of the deep Amazonian and Guyanese swamps. For centuries, tales have circulated about these merciless, giant killers lurking just beneath the murky waters, waiting to strike at anything that comes close. But how much of this is pure myth and how much is cold, hard scientific reality?
Well, to really understand the myth, we have to listen to the locals who live alongside these creatures every single day. The Amerindians actually call this animal Yakamama, or Mother of the Water. And there's this chilling local legend of the bull killer that we absolutely need to talk about. An elder named Theodore recounts a story from his youth at a place called Itchy Pond. His cattle were just vanishing without a trace. When he and his brother finally went looking, they didn't just find some random predator. They found, in his words, the biggest snake he had ever seen in his life. And you know what? After that terrifying encounter, the cows completely stopped disappearing. Stories like this really establish the incredibly high stakes before we even begin to bring in the science.
Section 1. High-tech jungle tracking. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the sheer amount of tech we're using. To separate fact from fiction, team leader Rena Baratz and her expedition crew are attempting to penetrate this totally impenetrable green hell. And trust me, they aren't just bringing machetes. The contrast between the ancient, wild jungle and their tech arsenal is just wild. We're talking custom-built aerial drones controlled by cybergloves, miniature infrared jeeps, ROV submarines equipped with sonar, and video glasses streaming live GPS directly to their eyes. It's like sci-fi meets the swamp.
And this brilliantly illustrates the ultimate showdown, our sleek, human-made tracking tools, pitted directly against the green anaconda's incredible natural adaptations. While we have to rely on buzzing drones and thermal lenses, the anaconda is a true evolutionary marvel. Despite having pretty poor eyesight, it uses highly specialized receptors to detect heat, scent, and even the faintest vibrations in the water. I mean, it is perfectly adapted to own this exact environment.
Section 2. Surviving the dry season.
So to track them, you really have to understand how the grueling Guyanese dry season completely changes their behavior. As the waterways shrink, these massive aquatic creatures are forced out onto the hot land. This makes them incredibly sluggish, which naturally debunks that whole unstoppable land monster myth. In fact, when it's out of the water, the anaconda relies entirely on its 300 thin ribs to support its absolutely crushing weight against the ground. It's a really heavy, taxing existence for the snake when that dry season hits and the water just vanishes.
So, the crucial point is, do not let that sluggish, land-bound behavior fool you. When they are hungry and back in their element, in the water, they are absolutely lethal. From a hidden position among the water lilies, an anaconda can ambush prey, like agoutis, deer, or even capybaras, with a terrifying strike velocity of 6 meters per second. To put that into perspective, that is a literal lightning strike coming right out of the muddy shallows. No way you're outrunning that.
Section 3. Live birth and survival.
Let's move to see how this builds into their life cycle. Because beyond their hunting prowess, the biological toll of reproduction for these giant snakes is just immense. I mean, look at this grueling timeline. The female will carry up to 80 eggs inside her, and for that entire 7-month gestation period, she fasts completely. Literally no food whatsoever. When the time finally comes, she gives birth to live young, and the process is so exhausting that she actually requires a full 2-year recovery period before her body is even ready to breed again.
The physical reality of this cycle is honestly staggering. A mother weighing up to 100 kilograms can lose 20% of her entire body weight during this process. That leaves her completely exhausted and super vulnerable. On the flip side, the newborns emerge up to 90 centimeters long. Those are absolute giants among baby snakes, and they kind of have to be because there is zero parental care from day one. These aggressive miniatures must instantly fend for themselves in the hostile jungle the absolute second they are born. Talk about a tough childhood, right?
Section 4. When technology fails.
Now, as you might guess, bringing delicate electronics into a thick, humid swamp has some serious drawbacks. After their custom drone loses GPS in the canopy and crashes, and their high-tech submarine gets hopelessly wedged in the reeds, the team has to get creative.
Knowing anacondas use heat sensors, they devise this brilliant thermal bait strategy. They take a simple plush monkey, warm its belly to exactly 37 degrees Celsius, and suspend it over the water. Then, they deploy their mini infrared car to watch what happens. It's just a fantastic blend of high science and improvised jungle fieldcraft.
Section 5. The Mating Ball Mystery.
And you know what? This improvised thermal tracking pays off in a totally unexpected way. While following a smaller 3-meter male snake through the dark forest floor, the expedition stumbles right into the true climax of their journey, a breeding ball. If you haven't heard of this, it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a massive, writhing knot of snakes. It happens when a single giant female releases powerful pheromones, drawing in sometimes more than 10 smaller males from across huge distances. They coil tightly around her in this surprisingly tender, multi-headed embrace that can actually last for days or even weeks as they compete.
Seeing a dozen snakes knotted together into one colossal shifting mass is a sight you literally cannot ever forget. And it brings us full circle, right back to where we started, when early Amerindians explored this dense forest and encountered what looked like an endless, writhing wall of snake. Is this what they saw? Is this many-headed hydra, this massive breeding ball, the true biological origin of the ancient monster myth? The giant anaconda is very real, and its biology is absolutely breathtaking, but perhaps it's this spectacular mating ritual that actually birthed the legend of the all-consuming monster of the Green Hell. So what do you think? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep questioning what's really hiding out there in the wild.